Take a deep breath, because the Friday, October 17th, 2025 episode of Beyond the Gates is about to push Fairmont Crest over the razor-thin line between glamour and collapse. From the opening minute, the gilded portrait of the elite splits wide when Nicole and Ted are forced to face what they've both tried to avoid. This marriage has no way back. Regret cannot repair shattered trust, and loneliness is no excuse for betrayal. To the pounding score of too late decisions, only one question remains. Will they walk away quietly, or are they ready to launch a legal, financial, reputational war that could rattle all of Fairmont Crest? At the same time, another flash tears the air. Eva and Tomas realize they've been used. The sweet friendship and the moments that once felt safe now turn into proof of a sophisticated game where emotions are yanked like chess pieces. Will they stand together to expose the puppeteer, or will they start doubting each other as masks begin to fall? All eyes suddenly turn to Kat, who is quietly sketching the blueprint for an unforgettable night. Unforgettable for romance or for a meticulously timed psychological blow. At Fairmont Crest, a date can be a declaration of love or a fuse. And just as relationships stretch like over-tightened strings, one family prepares to appear at a special event. A moment that looks like pure joy, but in the world of Beyond the Gates, every celebration carries a price. Behind the trophy, the smiles, and the toasts lurk back-channel deals, promises that cannot be withdrawn, and a single decision capable of flipping the board. Brace yourself. Today's episode doesn't just move the story forward. It forces every character to choose a side, rips off the masks, and lets the truth stand under the brightest lights. If you believed you understood Fairmont Crest, tonight will challenge you. Fairmont Crest has always hidden the worst of human nature behind gold-plated gates and society parties. But tonight, that glossy lacquer starts to flake with every tense breath. Eva walks the long hallway like a sealed tunnel, believing the gentleness she's given Tomas for months might help them cling to each other amid the current of suspicion, only for everything to shatter when new puzzle pieces suddenly appear. An anonymous account sends her blurry photos and a clockwork timeline. A no-caller ID ring knocks her heartbeat off rhythm. A few small, harmless-seeming details snap together like a conspiracy chart. The feeling of being breached creeps into every choice, making her doubt her own judgment. The tenderness that once carried her through her fragile days becomes a silent accusation that she trusted too much, turning Tomas into the sole anchor in a whirlpool. Tomas flounders differently. He believed in a sweet, harmless friendship, in evenings by the window watching rain, in the idea that unbound sharing could keep all limits safely in place. But with each day, he's squeezed between two opposing orbits. On one side is Eva, who turns fragility into courage and wants to cross the border of friendship to claim something solid. On the other is Kat, who turns desire into strategy, who not only hints at a future but is unafraid to rebuild the present to bend it her way. The sense of steering his own life slips from his grasp like a slick glass, and every attempt to catch it only shatters a few more shards that can't be mended. Kat doesn't wait for the universe to cooperate. She plans a special night with the cool precision of someone used to managing risk. Not a flimsy romance of candles and wine, but a calibrated sequence. A few anonymous messages sent at the perfect beat, a key misplaced in just the right spot, a chance meeting actually booked a week ago. She knows Tomas's feelings are just raw material. Forging them into a decision requires heat, pressure, and a mold as hard as iron. She uses her own honor as that mold, no matter how the consequences might rebound. When she looks in the mirror before everything moves, she sees a version of herself that won't retreat, even if the price is becoming the villain in someone else's story. The anger built from years of being underestimated, dismissed like a passing breeze, drives her into territory where victory and loss share a single, perilous edge. Leslie appears like a thin thread of smoke slipping through every crack. No need to shout or posture. She knows how to pick the moment to plant a seed of doubt, like resting a fingertip on a scale that's already tipped. With Eva, she stirs the sense of being outmaneuvered. With Tomas, she resurrects an invisible debt of compassion. With Kat, she becomes a mirror that magnifies each step into a trace that can be followed. Leslie wants Eva to seize Tomas, not for love, but to prove that every moral line in this town can be bent if you press the right point. She wields Eva as a double-edged blade. One edge cuts into Tomas so he can't see the exit. The other slices Kat so she tastes the metallic tang of a real war. The fewer eyes that catch Leslie's hand, the deeper the cut. While these undercurrents shift, another family in Fairmont Crest busies itself polishing a joyful ceremony. Smitty cradles a plan to propose to Martin with a steady sincerity rarely found in a town that trades in shine. He has a ring ready as a pledge to mend old fissures, believing that when the toasts rise, the past will hush for a while. Martin stands at a threshold that could open a different door to stability, laying the groundwork for a less turbulent home. But before the blessings can settle into the photo album, a cold wind of conflict from elsewhere steals through the salon, carrying the metallic scent of hard choices. Under the crystal glow, a smile suddenly looks like a hastily tied mask. The roughest surf still belongs to Nicole and Ted. They've moved beyond denial and bargaining. The truth lies on the table like an ugly fossil of a dead trust. In the window's reflection, Nicole sees a woman who's not allowed to soften any further. The betrayal with Leslie was a body blow, but worse was Ted's defense, that it was loneliness, as if she were to blame for not racing in time to shield him from his own choices. From the day Eva appeared as a living consequence of that crack, Nicole understood forgiveness was no longer the key to any door back. She prepares her next step not with memories but with files, legal counsel, and a strategy to preserve what remains intact of her soul. In Fairmont Crest, the only peace sometimes available is the peace you win in a carefully calculated fight. Ted is drawn back into Leslie's gravity faster than he dares admit. Loneliness, once his excuse, has become a habit-forming agent. Its bitter aftertaste numbs reason. Leslie can use Eva as an emotional compass to make him orient wherever she points, or turn small acts of support into a tightening financial cord. Each time Ted startles awake, the lock has already clicked, as if an invisible hand holds the key. He stands at the junction of two paths that both erode. Stay with Leslie and be trapped in a soft control web, or return to a solitary version of himself and let this tiny society grind him up in whispers. Guilt toward Nicole overlaps with the fear of being a bad father to Eva, and that overlap paralyzes any clean decision. Kat's special night begins with small, razor-edged signals. An anonymous text hits Eva's phone just as she steps over the family event threshold, its message dropping her heart into her stomach. A file folder sits in Tomas's trunk. Receipts, bandwidth traces, a handful of fuzzy photos, enough to make even the most rational mind hesitate. Meanwhile, Leslie takes her place like a conductor behind a black curtain, listening for the sound of swallowed sighs and timing the curtains to open and close with practiced ease. Kat's plan to win Tomas seems to align with Leslie's drive to turn everyone into pieces on her board, but that alignment explodes into an unforeseen side reaction. Eva stops being merely a lead target and becomes a spark of self-defense. The long-banked anger distills into a frightening clarity, letting her see the footprints of those who crossed her life believing she'd never noticed the family celebration. As the glasses rise, Smitty brushes the pocket where the ring rests. In that instant, the music dips, and a tremor of unease runs through the hall. Martin, beside him, senses the shift with the instincts of a man seasoned in smoke-filled boardrooms. Their eyes meet in wordless agreement that their happiness is the easiest thing to blow away when the outside storm gathers. They don't know that across town a decision is forming, one that will shake the fragile calm they've worked to build. Fairmont Crest has a wicked talent, turning the brightest moment into the staging ground for the next tempest. Nicole leaves her penthouse with a to-do list as practical as it is merciless. She meets an attorney to talk assets, rights, and legal branches that might make the other side think twice. Not to sling mud, but to reclaim control of her life in an ecosystem that rewards those who bargain and conceal. She weighs reputation too, because here a cracked marriage can become someone else's ladder. Nicole understands that moving forward means accepting a steadiness that borders on cold, and that very coldness is the only armor against a town that lives to judge and to watch her fall. As the night ticks on, all the invisible threads pull toward a single knot. Eva realizes that lingering on the threshold means she'll be cast as a permanent victim. She tracks her data trail backward, counts the strange coincidences, and maps them into a rough chart. Tomas, forced to choose, understands he can't keep paying emotional debts with goodwill alone. Kat, at the storm's eye, sees that winning Tomas is only the surface. Below it is the battle to prove she will no longer be the one overlooked. Leslie, who seemed to stand above it all, feels the wind shift as a few pieces slide beyond her sight line. Smitty and Martin, who thought they'd write a new chapter with a promise, learn to balance as the floor subtly quivers with incoming aftershocks. That night, Fairmont Crest doesn't rage on the surface. The streets are spotless, the pool a sheet of glass, the formal wear aligned neatly in closets. But in the depths, each principal is driven tight against the wall by their own motives, betrayals, and choices. Everyone's anger burns in a different hue. Eva's is the resolve not to be used. Tomas's is the exhaustion of playing savior. Kat's is the hunger to be recognized even at a warped cost. Leslie's is the pleasure of knowing every string can be pulled. Nicole's is a new chill, clean and exact. Ted's is confusion wrapped in the habit of excuses. And as they all draw a long breath before the moment of motion, the wealthy town understands it's about to witness a chain reaction, where the winner isn't the one with the most pieces, but the one who cuts the cord around their neck before it's too late at dawn. Phones light up in different corners of town. A message pings Kat with an attachment beyond the usual size limit, enough to freeze her with the knowledge that someone is tracing her steps. A financial brief lands in Ted's inbox as a reminder that freedom can vanish in a blink. A data extract flashes on Eva's screen, confirming her suspicion that someone has been steering her thoughts and movements longer than she knew. A missed call from an attorney draws a fleeting smile from Nicole. Her gears have started to turn. Elsewhere, Smitty takes Martin's hand, not to propose beneath fireworks, but to promise they'll walk this wobbling stretch with the steadiness they've so often lacked. All of Fairmont Crest stands at the threshold of a new day where the smell of gunpowder no longer comes from open war, but from weighty dossiers, grainy photos, anonymous pings, and decisions that will turn the pool's flat surface into rings that spread and spread without end. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. All the content I make is just speculation and personal sharing. If you find the video interesting and useful, please support me with a like and leave a comment. If you have better ideas or more interesting speculations, please share them in the comments section for everyone to discuss. I appreciate all your contributions and support. Sincerely, thank you.